Form selectors are used to select individual form elements. The syntax is always a colon before the name of the form element. Note the equivalent form selector using the filter function. There are several choices for the words that precede the form element. The word form is allowed, followed by a space, but it is not required. The 10 most frequently used form selectors are the input selector, which will select all input, text area, select, and button elements. The checkbox selector, which selects all checkbox elements. The text selector, which selects all text elements. The radio selector, which selects all radio buttons. The password selector, which selects all password elements. The image selector, which selects all image elements in the form. The file selector, which selects all file elements. The button selector, which selects all button elements. The reset selector, which selects all reset button elements. And the submit selector, which selects all submit button elements. There are 4 form filters. It is advisable to precede the filter with the tag name, otherwise performance may be adversely affected. Naturally, form filters only work if the HTML element supports the filter attribute. The check filter selects all elements that are checked. It is supported by checkbox and radio buttons. The selected filter selects all elements that are selected. It is supported by option elements. The disabled and enabled filters select all elements that are either disabled or enabled, depending upon which filter is used. They are supported by button, input, opgroup, option, select, and text area elements. Now let's take a quick look at a few examples in the browser. Using Web Inspector, we can see that the base page does not have any jQuery code yet. There are 2 classes, Class 8 and Class 9 in the style tag, and in the HTML, div1 has Class 8, while all the other divs have Class 9. We'll be concentrating on div1 because it has a demonstration form. The form is standard HTML with a table within as structure. The first example uses multiple form selectors: text, password, image, and submit. Note that the text area does not use the form element syntax. It is included as a separate selector. The checkbox and radio selectors require a hook in the Safari browser, which we will discuss in section 3. The selector result set calls the CSS function to apply a yellow border around each of the selected form elements. The render page shows the style changes. The second example uses checkbox as the selector and calls the after function to append the text "This is a checkbox" after any checkbox element. The parent function selects the table TD, which is the parent of the checkbox, and the CSS function applies the color blue to text. The render page shows the changes. The final example uses checked as the filter on all input elements. It calls the after function to append the text "This is checked" after any input element that is checked. Here the first checkbox and the second radio button are checked. The render page shows the changes. Now that you have a well-grounded understanding of selectors and filters, we can move on to section 3, where you will learn about more interesting applications of jQuery in design and CSS.